We're a national charity helping people with convictions find work. The top issue that we see is actually not having opportunities for people with convictions. One of our members applied for 5,000 roles before they were successful.
We're an organisation fighting for a world where systems work for people going through tough times. The number one thing that we see is that lack of control in people's lives. People feel like they have no choice but to return to institutions which offer structure and guidance.
Most women in prison are on sentences for 6 months or less, which is long enough for a woman to lose her job, home and custody of her children. Being in prison has a disproportionate impact on women's mental health and rates of self-harm in prison.
Support When It Matters was set up to provide culturally competent interventions to older black males engaged in the criminal justice system. Quite often there are undiagnosed or unmet mental health needs and also lack of housing accommodation on their release.
We try not to talk about people we serve, but give them real opportunities to speak for themselves. Mr. DC, who was recently released from prison, he would like to ask, why does it take 6 weeks for a newly released prisoner to receive benefits such as universal credit? Can put an added strain on an already stressed low-income family, which can lead to the person resorting to crime.
The top issue that we are facing is bank accounts for ex-offenders. So most of the people that have been placed into custody have lost their property and do not have identification to enable them to open a bank account.
We want to tackle the disproportionate representation of Gypsy Roma travellers in the justice system. People are sort of being sentenced to these short-term custodial sentences and this revolving door just continues and the root causes are never overcome.
Our support is focused more to Devon, specifically HMP Dartmoor, Plymouth and Torquay communities. One of the top issues is release from custody on licence end date. It means that there's no support available, not either from probation, which leaves people in the lurch.
The lack of tailored education which meets an individual's needs, which gives no acknowledgement of a prisoner's previous experience, risk factors or future goals.
Our top 2 priorities for reducing reoffending. One is to encourage employers, as many employers as possible, to open up their vacancies to people with convictions, to reduce reoffending from a third to a half. The second priority is to really support people to keep going. They often have hundreds of knockbacks in their search for work.
We have to get better at listening to people who are leaving prison, asking them directly, what are your priorities? Where do you want to go? What are your worries and concerns? The second priority is about choice and control. There is a feeling they don't have a choice about where they go. Anything we can do to put the person at the front and centre of